DP. He's a diamond. He's a beast, bro. He's an animal. He's a legend. And you know, I know it's his last dance, but I gotta play the spoiler here.
Charles Oliveira has some bold words for Dustin Poirier ahead of his highly anticipated retirement fight with Max Holloway.
He's gonna fight for the title, for the BMF title. Dustin Poirier has, big fan of Poirier, how he fights, heavy hands. And he believes in Dustin Poirier against Max Holloway.
Oliveira, who has faced both fighters inside the octagon, called Poirier the best boxer he's ever encountered in MMA. While Oliveira respects Holloway's pace and unrelenting volume, he believes Poirier's more precise striking and powerful hands make him the more dangerous opponent. Oliveira's view of Poirier's boxing skill puts him at the top of the list, and when you throw in the emotional element of fighting at home in New Orleans, Oliveira is leaning towards Poirier having the upper hand.
Cara, quando eu lutei com o Holloway, eu não tive a luta, né, porque foi muito rápido, por causa que eu tive a lesão, né, eu acho o Holloway um cara que se movimenta muito, um cara que pega, mas, cara, o Dustin Poirier é um cara que eu tenho respeito gigantesco, pra mim, de todos que eu lutei, é o cara que tem um boxe mais afiado, é o cara que bate mais consciente, tem a mão muito pesada, né, sabe jogar o jogo, vai lutar na casa praticamente, então eu acho que o Poirier ganha. O Poirier tá muito mais consciente, tá ligado? Eu acho que tipo, vai lutar muito consciente, muito malada pra se tornar campeão. É a última luta dele, é aposentadoria, então vai lutar muito mais consciente do que já lutou.
Paddy Pimblett has a different take on the situation. He sees Holloway's deep hunger to prove himself as a key factor in this fight. Holloway, who's been seeking revenge after Poirier ended his long win streak by beating him twice before, could enter this bout with the kind of drive that could make all the difference. Pimblett suggests that after Holloway's knockout loss to Ilia Topuria, he may have had time to regroup and come into this fight with a refreshed mindset. For Holloway, this is more than just another fight. It's an opportunity to make a statement and show the world that he's still a top contender in the lightweight division.
The Holloway-Poirier fight, can you give us like a little bit of a breakdown for that? Like, who do you think walks away from that? Because Poirier's 2-0. Against it.
I know, that's what I mean. Imagine it'd be heavy for Holloway that, like, if there's two different fighters who've beat him 3 times.
Yeah.
But
I didn't even think about that.
I seen him say something like, he took a lot from me. He took give me my first loss, and he took away me like 8-fight win streak or whatever it was. So I'm gonna take his retirement fight.
Adding another layer to the mix, Pimblett acknowledges that Poirier's hometown crowd will no doubt be a motivating factor. But he also points out the immense pressure that comes with performing in front of a home crowd. Poirier is favored to win, given his past victories over Holloway, but Pimblett warns that such high expectations could become a burden. He draws parallels to past fighters who've struggled when they've announced their retirement before a big fight. The emotional weight of a retirement bout can sometimes be a hindrance, distracting the fighter and affecting their performance. The pressure, especially in such a high-stakes matchup, might just work against Poirier.
So I think
that's cold.
Yeah,
that's tight. Yeah,
I think Holloway's motivated, and I can see Holloway winning. To be honest, don't know why. I think it's just one of them. Dustin fighting in his hometown, his last fight. Everyone expects him to win. The pressure. I think it might.
Man, you picked Holloway too. He could have probably picked someone that was a little more favorable. You know what I mean?
Well, you know why?
I think it's a bit more favorable because he's beaten twice, though.
Sure, I think so. I think so. Yeah, but it's also the business move because you need to have a title for a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And you don't need that shit.
Right? That's what I was thinking. Who's going to walk out first? Who's going to walk out second? Because they're saying
you can't have Poirier walk out first.
That's what I mean. And they're saying it's the BMF belt, his hometown. He's coming out. He might come out first.
It is Holloway versus Poirier too, right? On the bill.
Yeah. And then Ige and Pitbull are the co-main.
Max Holloway himself has been vocal about his determination to spoil Poirier's farewell. Holloway is fully aware that Poirier is riding high with the support of the New Orleans crowd, but he has no intention of playing the role of a stepping stone in Poirier's retirement story. Holloway sees this fight as his chance to prove that he belongs at the top of the lightweight division once again. Holloway is determined to make this more than just a trilogy fight for bragging rights. For him, it's about showing the world that he still has what it takes to be a title contender. A win over Poirier could potentially propel him into title talks, especially with the lightweight division in flux after Charles Oliveira's recent loss to Ilia Topuria.
Bruh, she getting mean right hand. You know what I mean? And right hook, and then she getting mean straight left. I mean, she getting stiff straight left. I mean, but the surfing helps too with paddling, you
She
know.
goofy
with
too,
her
huh?
punch. Yeah. She's southpaw, so it's not on wide eye left hook, check hook. It's a right check hook for I guess she's from Macaw, so we can say Macaw check hook since she's southpaw.
Well, let's just hope she never knocks you out, bro.
Nah,
You
never,
never
ever.
do anything to make her want to.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
So tell me this, bro. You're 33.
Yes,
33.
yes, turned 34 at the end of the year.
Okay, so you're still fairly young, but you know, and the clock is ticking. What are some things that you're still learning about yourself?
That I need to be more emotional.
The stakes are undeniably high for both fighters. Holloway is stepping into the octagon with an eye on a title shot, while Poirier's career is drawing to a close. This emotional intensity makes their third meeting particularly exciting. Both fighters are known for their striking prowess, and fans are expecting a firework-filled showdown. Poirier's heavy hands, combined with Holloway's smooth, fluid striking, promises to deliver another thrilling battle. But with Poirier's retirement looming, the stakes are even higher, and there's a sense that the outcome of this fight will carry much more weight than their previous two encounters.
We can stir up the rankings right now. It's a lot of people keep saying there's a way to the title. You know, I have a history with the champion. I have a history with the man who just fought the champion. So then first things first is Dustin Poirier, of course, but rankings doesn't really mean nothing. It's showing, you know, anybody can step up in anytime UFC come knocking at your door. You just gotta be ready.
You caused me to pull them up now, and yeah, that top 6 out lightweight is crazy. You're ahead of Dustin and Justin and Charles Oliveira ahead of you, and you have wins over both of them. So it doesn't really make sense, but here we are. You'll have the chance to change it up in a few days here, Max.
For sure.
You're going to be the first to attempt to, or I guess Justin tried to defend that BMF belt, but if you win here, you'll be the first to successfully do it. Is that like a thought going into your mind with the BMF? Did you think they would bring it back for this fight after the last one, or what was your thoughts when they mentioned all that?
I mean, not really, you know, it is what it is. It's another fight. I'm fucking 1-3 in 1 trilogy. I'm not trying to be 1-3 in 2 trilogies. So that's the main thing going through my mind, you know, right now. So at the end of the day, you know, it's BMF. The BMF title is cool and everything, and making history is great. But the main history I ain't trying to make is trying to be a man who fought 2 different trilogies and went 0-3. So at the end of the day, I'm focused on going out there, getting my hand raised. You know, shout out to DP. He's a diamond. He's a beast, bro. He's an animal. He's a legend. And you know, I know it's his last dance, but I gotta play the spoiler here. You know, I need this one.
Looking ahead, if Poirier is able to secure a victory and end his career on a high note, there's a possibility he might call for one last challenge, a title shot against the current lightweight champion, Ilia Topuria. Poirier has already expressed respect for Topuria, but has made it clear that UFC 318 will be his final fight. He's committed to going out on top, regardless of whether or not he defeats Holloway. This could set the stage for one final showdown with the champion, giving Poirier the opportunity to claim a last piece of glory before retiring.
Max Holloway is a guy you've fought before. How did this come together that he would be the final opponent?
I don't even know how this came together. This one's different. Usually it's like 1-1, or you know, I'm 2-0 on Max, but he's a legend and a great fighter and a great champion. And like we spoke about earlier, just see the things he's done in his career, from that young kid I fought in his debut all the way full circle. I was his first fight in the UFC. Now he's going to be my last fight in the UFC. So it's just it's crazy. But when I lay the gloves down in July, there's nobody else like that I would rather have fought my last fight than Max Holloway.
But the predictions don't stop there. Islam Makhachev believes that Poirier will rise to the occasion in his retirement fight against Holloway. Makhachev has been in contact with Poirier and holds him in high regard. He's convinced that Poirier's focus and determination will allow him to finish his career with a victory. Makhachev pointed out that Poirier has spoken to him about UFC 318 being his final fight, which adds even more conviction to his resolve. The fact that Poirier is fully committed to making his last fight count could make him an even more dangerous opponent for Holloway. Makhachev's confidence in Poirier's abilities is evident, and he sees the Diamond as someone who will be fully prepared for this fight.
Yeah.
From my opponent, I respect more 2 guys, Volkanovski and Dustin. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And I sent a message yesterday to Volkanovski. I saw his story in Instagram. He wrestled with somebody, and I sent a message, hey man, come to Dagestan for 3 years. I really want invite my opponents, like former opponents, like Volkanovski and Dustin Poirier, because they have a lot of people who support them, a lot of people who love them in my country.
Yeah, that would be very cool to see you guys. I know you've invited Charles as well in the past, so
Yeah.
hopefully this happens
Charles
at some point.
also.
Who do you think wins between Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier in a few weeks?
I think Dustin have motion. He told me this is last fight. He gonna be ready and he gonna win, I think.
As the fight draws nearer, the excitement is palpable. Michael Bisping, a UFC veteran himself, has been outspoken about how big this matchup has become. The announcement of Poirier's retirement has generated a massive buzz among fans, who are eager to witness the end of an era. Bisping called the fight sensational, underscoring the significance of the moment. For many fans, this fight isn't just about the rivalry between Poirier and Holloway. It's about seeing Poirier's career come full circle and possibly witnessing his final performance in the octagon. Bisping's enthusiasm is shared by many, and the fight has generated tremendous traction across social media, with fans and analysts alike speculating about the outcome.
To get announced has finally been announced. It is official, and no, I'm not talking about the headliner for International Fight Week. I'm not talking about John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, and I'm certainly not talking about Jake Paul's next bloody opponent. No, I'm talking about the Diamond, Dustin Poirier, taking on the one and only Max Blessed Holloway in Dustin Poirier's final fight. All you gotta do is Google the name Dustin Poirier. It is literally all over the internet. This just broke a few hours ago. I can't wait for it. This is a sensational fight, and the final fight of Dustin Poirier's legendary career. It's set to go down at UFC 318, which is in New Orleans, so it's going to be a home fight for Dustin Poirier. The crowd is going to go absolutely mental.
While many have been quick to highlight Poirier's potential for one final victory, there are concerns about his mental state heading into this fight. Eddie Alvarez, a former lightweight champion with a wealth of experience, raised an interesting point regarding fighters who announce their retirement before their final fight. Alvarez noted that the mental aspect of fighting is just as crucial as the physical preparation, and fighters who publicly declare their retirement often experience a mental disconnect in their last bout. This can lead to a lack of focus or even an unexpected loss, despite being physically ready. Alvarez's insight adds a layer of uncertainty to the fight, and it raises the question of whether Poirier's mind will be fully in the fight or if the emotional weight of retiring will impact his performance. Alvarez's concerns point to the complexity of fighting in such a high-pressure situation, especially when you've already mentally prepared to walk away from the sport.
I guess before we move on from lightweights, in a few weeks here, the next pay-per-view that's headlined by Dustin Poirier's retirement fight against Max Holloway. How do you think that one goes?
Damn. You know, like, Dustin beat him twice already, right? Beat Max twice. Yeah. Here's the thing with retirement fights and when people announce them that I don't like. This is what I don't like. People, if you are saying I'm done, right, then you're already done. And there's this small little thing in your mind where you've checked out. Even if you trained really hard and you put your best camp in and all that. And this is a sport where you have to be all in mentally, physically, emotionally. And I never like when guys pre-commit to being finished and then still fighting their last fight. When over time, as I watch that happen, the guy I watch, maybe it could be like 70-80% of the time that guy doesn't win.
Curtis Blades has highlighted an interesting angle on the upcoming Poirier versus Holloway trilogy, suggesting that the pressure might be even more intense on Poirier this time. Fighting in his hometown with the crowd heavily invested in his farewell could create a unique level of stress for Poirier. The emotional weight of performing in front of friends and family, coupled with the expectation that he'll finish his career on a high, may prove to be more daunting than he anticipates.
I have no idea. It's just gonna be a war. It'll probably go to decision. I hope it goes to a decision. It's gonna be an epic fight. I want Holloway to win just because I'm a Igor Holloway fan. I am Poirier, but I'm a fan of them both. But I'm a Igor Holloway guy.
So you're going with Holloway or going with Poirier?
I'm gonna go with Holloway, but I wouldn't be upset if it was Poirier. I respect him that much, and I know it's gonna be a war.
Daniel Cormier also weighed in on the significance of this third meeting between Poirier and Holloway, reflecting on their previous encounters. He noted that in their first fight, Poirier got an early victory when Holloway was still finding his footing in the UFC. The second fight, Cormier recalled, saw Holloway struggle at lightweight, appearing undersized and ultimately falling short against Poirier. Despite these past setbacks, Cormier sees this trilogy as special, more than just a series of fights between two rivals. The fact that this will be Poirier's final bout adds a layer of emotion and significance, making it not just another fight, but one that could define the careers of both men.
Guys, big news came out this week. It was official. Dustin Poirier is fighting against Max Holloway for the BMF title in July in New Orleans. Hey, that's exciting enough for me in its own regard, that they're fighting in New Orleans. But what's most exciting is we get two guys that fight each other, and every time they fight each other, it's fun. First time, Max Holloway was far too young, didn't really know what he was doing in the UFC. Dustin got through him pretty convincingly. Second fight in Atlanta, Georgia for the interim title that earned the fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov, Max Holloway was still a little small for 155. That is where the pudgy Max came from. Because you remember in that fight, Max went up, but his body didn't really change.
With so much on the line for both fighters, their third meeting promises to be a spectacle. Poirier's heavy hands and Holloway's relentless combinations are sure to keep fans on the edge of their seats. But beneath the excitement, there's a deeper narrative at play. This is not just another trilogy bout. It's a fight between two fighters with everything to prove. One with the desire to spoil a retirement, and the other with the weight of expectations hanging over him. The outcome will be more than just a win or a loss. It will mark the end of one fighter's journey and the beginning of another's ascent back to the top of the lightweight division. Fans and analysts alike are eagerly awaiting UFC 318 to see how the emotional intensity and high stakes will affect the outcome of this much anticipated trilogy fight. Will Poirier go out on top, securing a final victory in front of his hometown crowd, or will Holloway spoil his plans and prove that he still belongs at the top? Whatever the result, one thing is certain, this will be a fight to remember.